Bob Marley started his career with the Wailers, a group he formed with Peter Tosh and Bunny Livingston in 1963. The band formed in 1963 when self-taught musician Peter Tosh, who sung from 1944 to 1987, met the singers Bunny Wailer, who have sung from 1947 to 2021, and Bob Marley, who have sung from 1945 to 1981. They developed a ska vocal group called the Teenagers, named their band the Wailing Wailers, later shortened to the Wailers, because they were ghetto sufferers. As practicing Rastafarians, they grew their hair in dreadlocks and smoked ganja, marijuana, because they believed it to be a sacred herb that brought enlightenment. Peter Tosh was not just the better instrumentalist compared to Bob Marley, he was also the better writer. The song, Get Up, Stand Up, one of Marley's biggest hits, was written by Tosh. The difference is that Marley was more popular and accessible with his music. Tosh was too radical, too rigid. So Bob recruited his wife, Rita Anderson, who had been singing with the Wailers for the best part of a decade, along with Judy Mowat and Marcia Griffiths, to form the I3s. Their role was to sweeten and emphasize the message in the songs. By late 1963, singers Junior Braithwaite, Beverly Kelso, and Cherry Smith had joined the group. The lineup consisted of Braithwaite on vocals, Marley on guitar, Tosh on keyboard, Wailer on percussion, with Smith and/or Kelso on backing vocals. Kelso remembered those early recordings fondly. Marley and his friends formed the Wailing Wailers, which eventually became Bob Marley and the Wailers. The Wailers' big break came in 1972 when the band landed a contract with Island Records. In 1972, while in London, the Wailers asked their road manager Brent Clark to introduce them to Chris Blackwell, who had licensed some of their Coxsone releases for his Island Records. The Wailers felt they were due royalties from these releases. Blackwell was not convinced, but he was impressed by their character. He thought they exuded power and self-possession, despite being poor. Despite not having seen the band perform live, he advanced them £4,000 to record an album. He did not even require them to sign anything, feeling they deserved a break. Jimmy Cliff, Island's top reggae star, had recently left the label. His departure may have primed Blackwell to find a replacement. In Marley, Blackwell recognized the elements needed to snare the rock audience. I was dealing with rock music, which was really rebel music. I felt that would really be the way to break Jamaican music. But you needed someone who could be that image. When Bob walked in, he really was that image. The Wailers returned to Jamaica to record at Harry J's in Kingston, which resulted in the foundational tracks what would make up the album Catch a Fire. Primarily recorded on an 8-track, Catch a Fire marked the first time a reggae band had access to a state-of-the-art studio and were accorded the same care as their rock and roll peers. In 1974, Livingston left the band due to various disagreements with Blackwell, including not getting paid for the English leg of their Burnin' tour, and his refusal to play in the freak clubs that Island had booked the band. Tosh believed that producer Blackwell, whom he unfavorably called Chris Whitehurst, was responsible for the bad relationship between the band members. He thought Blackwell favored Marley over the rest of the band, giving him more attention and money, and with the decision to release their albums under the name Bob Marley and the Wailers, instead of the Wailers. Marley continued with a new lineup, which included the three I3 members were Marley's wife Rita Marley, Judy Mowat and Marcia Griffiths. The album Natty Dread was released in 1974, the first without Tosh and Livingston and with the I3s. Subscribe and share if this video was helpful.